built a bookshelf. What am I doing? I voted today.
I did not vote today, but I voted like a week ago. About a week ago. Welcome back to Morning Wood. It's Tuesday. We appreciate you. Trade deadline just ended. There's something else going on in this country. We're not going to talk about it, but trade early, trade often. I got some Morning Wood. I got some Morning Wood and some top of the morning news.
Dude.
I'm going to go. Actually, first, before I forgot, we have to announce the giveaway winner from last week. We picked a winner, and hopefully I don't mess this up, but it's Jayala19. Lamar Raven Jackson is your MVP halfway through the season. I agree with you. Please DM our Morning Wood account on IG, Twitter, or if you want, just put the easiest way to send you money. Just reply to your tweet down there. We'll see it. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone for commenting, viewing that video. We're trying to grow here. That's what we're trying to do, so we appreciate you.
That's the goal.
That is the goal.
More giveaways.
More giveaways coming soon for sure. But let's get into some trade deadline news. I'm kind of just going to break down all the teams who traded, the person, the player, to which team. I'm just going to rattle them off. Starting in chronological order, this is all in the timeline of today. Starting with the Browns. They trade edge rusher Zadarius Smith to the Lions. Kind of a big need for the Lions. They pick up a veteran edge rusher from the Browns. Bears trade running back Khalil Herbert to the Bengals. I guess that was a need for the Bengals. I don't know. They have Moss and Brown over there, I believe. But Khalil Herbert, kind of like a dual threat guy, goes to the Bengals. Panthers trade wide receiver Jonathan Mingo to the Cowboys. This was kind of a questionable trade. They traded a fourth-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. He's a young guy, but they also traded Deontay Johnson to the Ravens for like a fifth-round pick. Obviously, he's a better receiver so far in his career than Jonathan Mingo. But the Panthers and the Cowboys, they both make questionable decisions. Best trade of the day, in my opinion, the Saints trade cornerback Marshawn Lattimore to the Commanders. Commanders just keep getting better. That defense, kind of a need for them. They fill it with a veteran Pro Bowl cornerback, Marshawn Lattimore. And then your Steelers make some moves. The Jets trade Mike Williams to the Steelers. Packers also trade edge rusher Preston Smith to the Steelers. Steelers adding some weapons. The 6-2 Steelers adding some depth to the edge rusher. And then Mike Williams, I know the Steelers were looking for a wide receiver. They've been looking for a wide receiver. They thought Brandon Ayuk. They had a couple different guys at the beginning of the season. Maybe Mike Williams, I think they were looking at him preseason as well. But then my Ravens also get a big piece to the defense. The Rams trade Tre'Davious White to the Ravens. But other than those, that was actually all the news for today. But kind of an underwhelming trade deadline. I know we had some trades that happened the past couple weeks, but specifically today, Steelers make two pretty decent-sized moves. The Commanders make probably the biggest trade of the day. And then other than that, we didn't really see any like player-for-player trades at all this season that I can think of. But yeah, that was the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, Zadarius Smith to the Lions is huge. Obviously, you can't really replace Hutchinson, but they added a veteran kind of presence there. He's good for them. That's going to add a lot of depth and just different packages they can do and keep guys probably fresh legs. Obviously, us getting Mike Williams, that was huge. We needed to fill kind of a questionable wide receiver room, and I think he's gonna. I don't think it's a hurt. It's a fifth-round pick. It's not DK. It's not Ayuk or anything, but it's definitely it'll definitely help. And then obviously the winner of this is definitely the Commanders. Getting a veteran presence like that in an already pretty good defense that's playing well. That's huge for them.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the best segment, my favorite segment, the Antonio Brown tweet of the day. Roll the clip.
Kicks a man. Antonio Brown.
Go on social media, man. This is about us. Nobody else.
I'm choosing.
Slowly.
I'm choosing. I don't even know. I think I'm allowed to say this. Cracker of the day. Like,
I think I'm allowed to say this.
I mean, it's not. I don't care. Cracker of the day. It's Jason Kelsey. Everybody's seen this meme of the old dude who breaks down the F around and find that chart. The more you F around, you will actually notice the
Direct
more
correlation.
You will find out. And the idiot at I think it was the Penn State kid, right?
Yeah, it was a game day.
Game day kid who decides to go up to a like 6'5", 300-pound human being, was just dogging his brother, calling him like all this stuff,
F-word.
dogging him, yeah. And he
Bundle
just
of
like
sticks.
He's shocked that a guy who protected a quarterback for his whole career, stopping other grown, large adult males from getting to his quarterback, took his phone and decided to turn it into dust.
People are they don't understand there's consequences to doing things. Like, people are just soft nowadays. You just can't go up to people with a phone in their face and not expect something to happen. Just because he's a celebrity or whatever. Like, he's a celebrity, but he's also one of the best offensive linemen NFL players to ever walk. He's from Ohio. Like, you don't just get in his face with a cell phone and think he's not going to do anything.
He's a human. Like, and you talked about his family member. I thought it was hilarious. I'm so happy that he did that.
I wish he would have roundhouse that kid. He probably would have been in some trouble, but like,
probably would have died.
Get out of my face, bro. Like, he needs to learn a lesson. These kids nowadays.
This kid needs to be sent this post. As he found out,
these kids,
he effed around and he found out on Saturday morning.
It's like a keyboard warrior showing up in real life and then like not expecting anything to happen.
He probably thought he was protected by the fact that Kelsey's like a high profile person.
Right. Like,
Kelsey turned around and threw that phone. Dan, to the go run. But that's my tweet of the day, cracker of the day. Shout out to Jason Kelsey. Love seeing that. We'd love him even more.
I like it.
Moving on, let's recap the NFL. We always do this every week. Let's talk about kind of an exciting weekend, I think, in the NFL. Let's start off with the Thursday night game. CJ Stroud and the Texans. Yeesh, what is happening? I said, CJ Stroud, what's good, bro? What's talk to me? What's on your mind? Because it's not football. The Texans.
That's what's happening.
They're back to practice on Tuesday, probably. I don't know if they're back. But the Texans, they had some long drives in this game, but it either ended up in punts or field goals, and that's not great. They led, I think, the game in time of possession, but they didn't really execute well in the red zone. CJ Stroud in the last couple of games didn't really look great. The only person that really stood out, honestly, was Tank Dell. He took that challenge.
The only person he threw it to.
Yeah, it was literally the only person he threw it to. He took the challenge of, hey, my number 1 and 2 are gone. Let me step up. And he did in a big way. He had a great game. The rest of the receiving corps, they forgot that there was a game on Thursday night, I guess. They were out trick-or-treating or something.
They were just running cardio because he was just throwing to Tank Dell.
they had a cardio night. The Jets score all 21 points in the second half of this football game. They were shut out in the first half. It was looking kind of like, okay, the Texans might do what I thought they were going to do, was win this game and take care of business. Nope. Aaron Rodgers actually woke up a little bit. He goes 21-32 for 211, 3 touchdowns. They took the lead, by the way, in this game with maybe the catch of the year. I don't know if we're going to see a better catch than what was it Wilson that had this one-handed catch, I think?
Yeah.
The
Jordan logo catch, yeah.
Yeah, with the knee down. That was crazy. It was kind of funny coming off of the George Pickens catch where he got the same kind of situation down.
Yeah, that was weird.
But Devontae, it was a catch. It was a great catch.
Like, what is it? But what is a catch?
I don't know. I have no idea.
But what is that?
What is that? I don't know. I really wanted to say something.
2 taps, 2 toes equals. 2 taps of the same foot does not equal a shin.
But a butt, a head.
A forearm is more than a double tap of a toe.
Right. But the double tap of the toe is
Jason Kelsey had a good point on I think it was Monday Night Football. If you catch the ball inbounds, like just on the hash mark, and just hop on one foot the whole time out of bounds, it's not a catch.
2 taps of the same toe is not a
No.
toe of the same tap and bounce.
Right.
That's what it says in the NFL rulebook.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams I think he just got to New York because he goes 7 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. He actually showed up in the offense. Again, the second half, this Jets offense kind of moving the football. Rodgers, again, 3 touchdowns, looking good. Like you said, the Jets are back. I guess they're back to practice, but maybe they can improve because I thought their season was over. And the Texans, I don't know. I don't know what to make of them. Maybe. I mean, they're still young. They're still really young. And CJ, I have to remember, CJ hasn't even played a full second season yet in the NFL. But I feel like they should have
set the bar too high for himself last year.
A little bit. They should have won. I feel like that game they had opportunities, but again, the long drives and just ending in field goals or punting wasn't great.
I'll talk about my Ravens. They get a big time win. They beat the Broncos 41-10. They didn't beat themselves, so they win games. Lamar throws for 280, another 3 touchdowns. Pretty average day for Lamar at this point. Derrick Henry only runs for 106, kind of a light day for him. 2 touchdowns, though. Our defense only gave up 10 points, which is the best part about that day. I don't care if it was the Broncos offense, rookie quarterback Bo Nix. We shut them down a little bit. But big game on Thursday against the Bengals. I will be watching that game live with my own eyes in the stadium. Got to get a win. Got to get a win against the Bengals.
Might be another shootout.
Probably will be. They got the new purple helmets for the first time. Rocking those should be exciting.
How about that? Let's move on to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, they win their 4th straight game. They have actually now won 6 straight against the Miami Dolphins. That's including the postseason, everything. Not great. Josh Allen, again, some of these quarterbacks just keep having great days, and this is another one. Josh Allen throws for 235, 3 touchdowns. He was in complete control of this game, I feel like, even when it was kind of close. He did throw an interception, but this was one of those where it's like off the hands of the receiver, pops up, and then DB catches it. I don't feel like that should be an interception for the quarterback. We need to start implementing a stat that's like wide receiver interception or something, because it shouldn't really count against Josh Allen, or like whenever a quarterback has like a ball tipped and it's like off the receiver's face and then it's like intercepted. It's like, it's stupid. But he does throw in a pick regardless. The Dolphins, though, I'm actually shocked here. Let me give some praise to the Dolphins, because I thought they were going to roll over and play dead, to be honest. I thought they were going to get killed by the Bills. But they didn't. They actually battled back in this game, and they tied it. Believe it or not, they battled. Tua played good. He had 2 touchdowns. They tie it with like a minute 30 left. But Josh Allen does what he does, gets them in field goal range, and the Bills hit a 61-yarder.
Barely field goal range.
Hey, nowadays kickers don't care.
Tyler Bass.
If it's in the stadium, they're kicking that thing. And they had a 61-yarder. I had the buzzer to walk that John off. Again, 4th straight game for the Bills. They win. Again, this is following the loss they had against you guys. They've looked completely different and like another team, really, since that point. They're rolling. Dolphins, not so much. They need to figure out something over there because they're doo-doo cheeks on Louis sheets. So,
yeah. Good story for Tyler Bass. Misses an extra point, I think, earlier in the game, and then comes back. It's a 61-yarder.
He was a bit animated
for him.
After that walk-off, and I understand why.
The Saints lose to the Panthers. And when you lose to the Panthers, you fire your head coach, and that's what happened to the Saints. Dennis Allen will be seeing you. Derek Carr's throwing up hospital balls to Chris Olave. He gets a concussion. He goes to the hospital immediately after. Michael Thomas on Twitter, I don't know if you saw, but he was absolutely cooking Derek Carr for like 20 tweets in a row. It was amazing. The Saints suck. The Panthers, they did not look good, but they get a win. Congrats, I guess. Baby. The Falcons, kind of in complete control of that division. They have 2 head-to-head wins over the Bucs. They're banged up. The Panthers suck. The Saints stink. Congrats to the Falcons for winning that division.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of that game. Besides, I saw some of the clips when Olave got sent to the hospital. So not great. But moving on, let's talk about the Bengals. They dominated on the field in the box score of this game. It didn't really matter. The Raiders suck. Doo-doo cheeks. They're terrible. They need to trade Brock Bowers already. Get him off this team because this poor kid There's I need to be on this team. Good Lord. They also need to trade Max Crosby. Any good player on this team. Yeah, anybody would.
I'll put a bid in there for them.
Get them off this team. The worst thing they ever did, unfortunately, was firing John Gruden. I know that whole situation was a little chaotic, but man, do you all miss some sort of stability and culture in that locker room. I don't even like watching them.
I like Antonio Pierce as a coach. I just don't think they have a quarterback. They don't have anyone that can be like a quarterback. Gardner Minshew, sorry about it. You're not him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to an extent, but I just feel like they just don't have like a culture there. Obviously, he's a new coach; he's trying to establish that. But I don't know. There's just it's hard to watch the Raiders. I'm sorry, Raiders fans, but anyway, Burrow 5 touchdowns again. A lot of these guys, they're just playing out of their mind, and they're most of the reasons that their teams win. He's one of them. Chase Brown. I don't know why they even signed a running back. They have Brown and Zach Moss. I know he's a two-way guy, but they got a good backfield, I feel like. A 1-2 punch of these guys. He goes for 120 yards. And Mike Gesicki?
Starts gritty. Does it gritty.
He's gritty.
The white guy gritty.
The white guy gritty. 5 receptions, 100 buckaroonies, and 2 touchdowns on the day. Have a day, big guy. Bengals roll again offensively. They've kind of looked a little here and there, but when they're on, man, when Burrow's on and that receiving core is going, oh, man.
Last week on Thursday, I told all of you to hammer Jameis Winston INTs. I specifically remember saying that. He had 3 of them against the Chargers.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Because I watched the Ravens drop 4 of them the previous week. Chargers win big over the Browns. Herbert looks like a Justin Herbert type of game. Throws for 282, 2 touchdowns. Finally seeing some yards from him. Lad McConkey looks good. Quentin Johnston had a long touchdown in that game. J.K. Dobbins also puts 2 in for the Chargers. They look pretty good. Big win over the Browns. They have kind of a tough schedule, I think, to end the season, but they look good. They're not obviously going to win the division at this point. I don't think that the Chiefs are still undefeated, but not a wild card team that you want to go play.
No, I feel like if they didn't have that little 3-game sputter, and if they were they could still get rolling, but I just think if Herbert just gets comfortable with that new coach, obviously Harbaugh's going to change some things. They like you said, I don't want to play them anytime soon. That defense too is low-key like a sleeper.
Yeah, they are.
Let's talk about another team that's kind of rolling. The Commanders. They hold off a comeback attempt from the Giants. Again, another team that I kind of thought was going to roll over, kind of like Miami. They didn't. They put up a battle. Not gonna lie, the Commanders, they were up 21-7.5. It looked like it was going to be one of those Commander games where they just kind of roll and that was it. But they got it going out of the gates. They got it going early, scoring 21 on the road. That's impressive. But they only win by 5. The Giants do battle back, but unfortunately they don't get it done. Danny Dimes, again, coach of the year a couple years ago, are the Giants terrible? They're not great. They improved to 2-7. Again, they just paid Daniel Jones $1 billion, and they're 2-7. Not great. I don't know. Terrible.
Trade Saquon to your division rival. I don't know. It's the Giants. Giants are the Giants.
The Giants are the Giants, and here's a stat that proves that. The Chiefs, by the way, have won 2 Super Bowls. Okay? 2. Between Daniel Jones' most recent 2 touchdowns at MetLife Stadium. They're 0-5 at home. This team sucks.
Not great.
He's turning into a Kirk Cousins 2.0. He's a thief. He's a thief. And I know
Kirk wins games.
They're winning games. They're not going to do anything in the playoffs. He never does anything in the playoffs.
The Giants will never see the playoffs, so it's fine.
That's true. They'll watch Kirk Cousins lose in the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. I just wanted to mention, I don't think we have it on here, but the Eagles get a suspect win against the Jags. They looked good. They were dominating for most of the game. Then Nick Sirianni makes some weird calls.
He had a Nick Sirianni day.
And they start booing, and they're up by 18 because he's going for 2. Just kick a field goal. Kick an extra point. He's going for it on 4th and 5, up 20 points, and they're booing him. I don't know. And then the Jags fight back and make that a game at the end of the fourth quarter there. But I just wanted to mention that the Commanders 7-2.
Yes.
And the Eagles are 6-2. So that's kind of a race right now.
Excited to watch them play.
The Cowboys and the Giants obviously out of it at this point.
Yeah, I have to mention Saquon Barkley is a
Oh
absolute
yeah, that
dog.
backwards
The
hurdle.
backwards hurdle is
That was
like
insane.
easily the best offseason acquisition in the NFL so far.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy how good he is.
for sure.
Let's keep it in the NFC. I gotta say, I like giving myself props because most of the time I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm stupid. But the Bears, what happened
Bear down.
again?
Bear down.
I told y'all last week. I said,
Bear down.
y'all are gonna win 2 games probably the rest of the year, and it starts with the Cardinals. I said that they were gonna lose. I didn't think it was gonna be this bad, but good lord, I know what happened though because I asked what happened. I know what happened. They got outrushed, 213 yards to 70 by the Cardinals. Kyler Murray didn't even have to throw it. It felt like they should just run the ball everywhere.
That was like at the end of the half. The Cardinals were just trying to run the clock out and go to halftime, and they break like an 80-yard. It was like the longest touchdown ever at the end of a half to be converted. Like they were on their own 20. It's got a touchback. They hand the ball off to go into halftime, and he breaks one for 80 yards for a touchdown.
It sounds like the Bears were playing football. So.
they were playing football, that's for sure.
They were playing football. Caleb Williams throws 217 yards. He doesn't throw an interception. He didn't throw a touchdown, but he gets sacked 6 times. And by the way, he got sacked 6 times. This Cardinals team had 6 sacks coming into the game. So that tells you that the Bears O-line is still trash. And the Bears, they go 3 of 14 on third down. I forget how many punts they had. Trey McBride, I know he didn't have a great game this game, but overall, watching him play, he might be the best tight end in football.
He's okay.
He's pretty good. The Cardinals, by the way, out of nowhere, are on top of the NFC West. Seahawks and Rams. What are you doing?
Tyler's 49th prestige. Like he's grinding too,
bro. He probably hit everything.
He's got
dark matter.
Like, yeah, he's got it all. There.
He's at max prestige. He's already done.
This was also the first time the Bears let up more than 21 points in an NFL in a game this season. So when the Bears defense doesn't play well, it's not going to go well.
I agree. So
the Lions staying in the division. The Lions
wagon.
They can win outside. I know that was a question mark coming into this game. This is their first game outside all season. They're a dome team. They proved that they're not a dome team. They can win anywhere. Jared Goff only has 4 incompletions in a rainy, windy game at Lambeau. Jordan Love throws like a really bad pick 6.
That was horrible.
Which gave all the momentum to the Lions. They never really looked back after that. I think we needed to see a gritty, sloppy win from the Lions, and we got one. I know they kind of emphasize it at the end of the game. Like Dan Campbell mentioned it. Jared Goff mentions it. Oh, no one says we can win outside. That was definitely their bulletin board material this week. Oh, we can win outside. No one says we can win outside. They're 7-1. They look good. Packers have a bye week this week. They need to get Jordan Love fully healthy because I watched most of that game. It was noticeable that he was limited mobility-wise with that groin injury. He was question mark to play. He went. Might have not. Maybe I probably would have liked to see Malik Willis go. They might have had a shot.
Maybe. But, I mean, Jordan Love leading the league in interceptions and touchdowns. Real gunslinger.
Brett Favre. He got a little bit of Brett Favre in him.
Something about Brett Favre that trust. Let me talk about this team that I'm done picking ever. The Seahawks, I'm done with y'all. Y'all are terrible. You'll start 3-0, and then you go 1-5. Are you kidding me?
What are you doing?
Are you kidding me?
They are severely missing DK Metcalf, and it's noticeable.
But like that, I get that. But like, was he Superman? I mean,
geez, kind of is.
I mean, I guess, but like, I just don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm done talking about them. I don't even want to talk about them. Geno Smith, you're letting me down. Mike McDonald, you're also letting me down. How do y'all start 3-0 and you've won 1 of the last like 6 games? Are you guys okay? Like, what's happening? And I know I picked them most of those weeks, so I'm done doing that. Let's talk about the team that actually won, who's actually looking pretty good. The Rams, they improved to 3 straight wins. In those 3 wins, they beat the Vikings at home, and then they go to Seattle, tough division game, and win. Not bad. Also, Geno Smith, that pick 6. What are we doing? What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
What are we doing?
Stafford has, I think, 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in those games. So not terrible. Not terrible. Pretty good.
Shabby.
And watch out for the healthy Rams. If they kind of get going again, that NFC West is straight up a battle right now between all 4 teams.
Yeah.
And the wild card race in the NFC might look a little scary. Again, another team that in the wild card you might not want to see this Rams team when healthy.
No, definitely not.
So
we can move on. Sunday Night Football. We had a football game. I wouldn't call it a banger. I wouldn't really call it a sleeper, but
I watched this game. I don't remember anything from this game.
It wasn't very eventful, honestly. Joey Flacco and the boys did not look good on Sunday versus the Vikings.
Yeah.
It was a one-score game, but it's kind of misleading. The Vikings missed 2 field goals in the first half. They didn't score any points in the first half, then come out, score 21 points in the second half to beat the Colts at home. The Colts' only touchdown comes off a strip sack, scoop, and score. The boys couldn't get anything going on offense. It was not good. Anthony Richardson benched. Joe Flacco comes in. New look offense, hopefully. Didn't look great. Vikings defense, obviously one of the better defenses in the league, but it was pretty bad. But it did. I believe Shane Steichen did announce that Joey Flacco will be the starter for the rest of the season in Indianapolis. AR will be on the bench behind Joe Flacco, so we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the season. But the Vikings get a win. I think coming into this game, they lost 2 straight.
Yeah.
So this was a good win for the Vikings.
Yeah. Again, I don't even recall much of this game, like, at all. I know the Colts had a strip sack fumble, and I think Darnold threw like 2 interceptions. He didn't play great. He hasn't really played too great last couple games, but again, a big win. They needed that. They couldn't. Falling 3 straight there would have been crazy. Hey, the Chiefs, shockingly, win again. They're undefeated. They have not lost on the season. Kind of crazy. They usually don't ever win much. Well, they win, but it doesn't ever, like, it takes some time.
It's a perfect recipe for them to lose in the playoffs.
Right, it's flipped now. Maybe they're going to start hot and then they
start hot, then they're going to lose in the playoffs, like first round. That'd be cool. That'd be sweet.
Bucks battle. I mean, they got nobody out there on the receiving. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Baker Mayfield is much watched television. I don't know what Baker. It is.
I used to be the biggest Baker hater of all time, but he's won me over.
No, I'm the same way. Like, I hated him in Oklahoma because he was an absolute clown there. Yeah. And he did it, but he's matured so much, and he's so it's almost like Brady mentality, or just like it's almost like Kobe. Like, watching quarterbacks that want the ball, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care. He doesn't care if there's nobody out there receiver. He wants the ball. He's going to go down and score some touchdowns.
That's why I was like, Baker should have been like, we're going for 2 here. Like, Todd Bowles, hold my nuts. We're going for 2 here. I don't care what you say. We're going for 2, and we're going to put it in.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because, like, they're 4-5 now. They're 4-4.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Game over for my microphone.
He has dogs, guys.
I have dogs. I'm probably going to edit this out, but it's okay.
It's okay. But I was going to ask you about the 2-point conversion because the Bucks, they score, like you say, they tie the game, and then they're 4-4. They don't have much to win for. They don't have much to lose for. Again, the Falcons keep kind of slowly, increasing the gap in the division, and I feel like to steal a game here, when you're not healthy, you have the Super Bowl defending champs on the ropes pretty much. You're battling all game. Your quarterback's playing well. Your defense is doing enough. I think you go for 2 there and kind of try and steal that game.
It was like a rainy game. It started to rain in Kansas City. You're on the road. You have an opportunity right now. You got to get 3 yards. Like, you don't give even a shot, a 50-50 shot to get the ball back in overtime. It doesn't even matter. You're not even guaranteed you're going to go down and score. But then you don't even get to see the ball in overtime because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs just marched down the field. And they started running the ball really well in the second half. I think you just got to go for 2 there and live with the result.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you look at like the wild card race in the NFC too, like what are you going to say if the Bucks like lose? Like, they're 4-5. Like, yeah, sure, Mike Evans is going to get healthy, but I think that's not coming till after the bye week.
Yeah. Like,
they didn't make any moves to the trade deadline, and they just had opportunities.
You already lost 2 like head-to-heads to the Falcons already. Like, you've already lost to them twice. Yeah. You have to at least surpass them to win the division. It's like you just got to go for 2 there.
Yeah, and then they don't, so it goes into overtime. The Chiefs won the coin toss. I think everybody that wasn't a Chiefs fan had the same reaction as Baker Mayfield when they lost the coin toss. I'm sick of seeing teams just win because they win the coin toss. Like it seems like every OT game, if you win,
They also didn't call a false start in overtime.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. The guy's like already in the backfield blocking, and they just let it go. There was also a face mask that wasn't a face mask early on in that game. Takes the Bucks out of pretty much scoring a touchdown. So on brand for a Chiefs win.
Right. Yeah. I did get a little bit of a scare with Patrick Mahomes' knee on that touchdown flip he had.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That looked bad. I was like, everybody on Twitter was like, oh, no, that would have been really bad. But the Chiefs, regardless, they win. They stay undefeated. The Bucks, questionable not going for 2. You kind of need a game there. Steal one against the Super Bowl defending champs. You got to go for 2 there.
Even if you lose, I think you like hold your head up like we tried and it didn't happen. But I mean,
giving the ball to Patrick Mahomes in overtime is never a good idea.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like even letting it, obviously they don't have a choice on that, but getting it to that choice is not smart.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at our week 9 pick results from the week.
Pretty much.
I went 13-2. You went 12-3. We're right neck and neck. You're 1 game up on me for the season. 86-52. I'm 85-53.
The only games we really deferred on were
it was the
Thursday
Jets.
night.
Yeah, Thursday night.
I picked the Texans. They suck.
I had the Jets. I picked the Bears for some reason against the Cardinals.
I tried to tell you.
Do that again. You did. And then I picked the Rams, and you obviously had the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And then we both lost on the Panthers.
Because Bryce Young's going to come in and win a game against Derek Carr.
I wouldn't even say he won it for them, but it's okay.
That's fair.
It's a close race in the NFL.
I'm up by 1.
You are up by 1.
86-52. It's 85-53.
Yep.
Not bad.
Let's move on to some college football here. We had some college football picks, starting with a Big Ten big game matchup. We both had Ohio State beating Penn State. That comes to fruition. Penn State kind of fraudulent. We both talked about it last week. Ended up being true in this one.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit, but Penn State, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll talk about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Moving on, we got the Golden Gophers, baby. I try to tell y'all. 5-3. They improved to 6-3 in the Big Ten. They might be legit.
Illinois is fraud.
Watch out for the Golden Gophers. You might want to not see them in the playoffs. Let me tell
you. you might not want to see them in the playoffs, and you won't see them in the playoffs. They're not making it.
They win. They beat Illinois on the road. I win that. Jason lost that.
I did lose that. Georgia, your favorite team, they get a win against.
Talking about another team you're not going to see in the playoffs. These guys, they're about to lose out.
That's amazing. Georgia wins. I didn't watch this game.
They won again.
They did win. I know that, but you'll cover that.
I'll talk about it. Don't you worry. Clemson, are we okay? What happened? You had the rest of the season wrapped up in a bow, and you lose to Louisville at home. They put up like a 40-burger on you guys.
Must win.
Unfortunately, we both lose that one. At Clemson, we might have to look at their schedule because in the ACC, you got SMU, you got some other teams in there. I don't know, Clemson, Miami. I don't know.
Yeah, and then we both were on Wisconsin. They get absolutely smacked by Iowa. I don't know. I mean, we were thinking Wisconsin just played Penn State pretty well. They might travel well on the road against Iowa. They didn't show up.
No, Iowa they must have thought that the season started at week 10. So
yeah.
It's good for them. Lastly, we got an ACC matchup to round out the pick results. SMU kind of put a smack down on Pitt. They win big. They win 48-25. Pitt going into that game was undefeated too. Kind of 2 ACC teams that were in that picture with Clemson and Miami, and SMU said, "Hey boys, we're here to play. We're here to play. Okay, we're not to be messed around with." We both go 3-3 on the week because some Fugaze wins, but it's fine. I go to 33-28. Jason is still ahead of me, 41-20. We need a big week here.
Well, if you stop picking against Notre Dame and Georgia, it might be a lot closer, but...
Yeah, I'll explain why I keep picking against Georgia, because it's actually kind of smart that I'm picking against. That's fine. Let's move on. Let's recap some of these games. Let's talk about the big one, the Big Ten, the big game, the big matchup showdown, whatever you call it. can't breathe. James Franklin, we'll be seeing it, buddy. I'm sick of this guy. Penn State 1-14 in their against top 5 opponents since he's been there. 1-14. Are you? And you want to compete in for what? The Peach Bowl? Have fun. They got gifted 7 points in this game, by the way. That pick six, they might be at the Chick-fil-A Bowl. That pick six they had, by the way, it was a very weird coverage, interception. It looked like it was very weird. They ran a slant, concept, and luckily the Penn State defensive back knew what was happening. But they got gifted 7 points in this game, literally gifted. Okay, at home, you're at home against Ohio State, big game. It's your Super Bowl. Okay, this is lock and key to get into the playoff. They scored 6 points on offense. They scored 3 points in 3 quarters. Drew Aller, have fun in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. What are you doing? Are you kidding me?
Give me some nuggies.
12 for 20, 146 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, we've talked about Penn State's quarterback play all season, and I mean, this is the biggest game you could have asked for. Biggest game. And then we talked about it not
literally everything we broke down happened.
Everything. Their offense is stagnant. Ohio State's defense is like that. They need to move the ball. They got gifted 7 points. You scored 6. Your defense scored more than your offense. What? That's crazy. Ohio State, like in the notes that I have, and like we said, they dominated this game in everything. In the box where they had more time of possession, more yards, more better third down, less penalties, it wasn't even a game. I know it was close-ish, but if you take that pick six away, it's not even a football game.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this coming. We saw this coming pretty much. We broke it down last week. Penn State, pretty fraudulent. I mean, they beat who they're supposed to beat, not very convincingly. This was, like you said, their Super Bowl, and they didn't show up for it.
Not great.
They just don't. Drew Aller's not a guy. He's just not a guy, unfortunately.
No, if you look at the playoff picture and when we get into the playoffs and you look at some of these quarterbacks that Penn State's gonna have to play, you're not competing with that guy. There's no way.
Let's move on to a pretty surprising outcome here. The Louisville Cardinals here dominate Clemson. For the entirety of this game, it was 33-14 late in the fourth quarter. Clemson gets a late touchdown to make it look a little more respectable, but they dominated on the ground, over 200 yards rushing. Every touchdown was on the ground for the Cardinals. That leaves 2 unbeaten teams in conference play in the ACC, and that's your Miami Hurricanes. And that is the SMU, what are they, the Mustangs, I think?
Yeah, the Mustangs.
Who I'm about to talk about in a second. But Clemson probably out of it at this point. They got 2 losses, Georgia, Louisville Cardinals. Louisville Cardinals, maybe if SMU kind of falls a little bit. I don't know if they have a head-to-head, but the ACC it's kind of a race for second right now-ish behind the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting. I mean, when we played Louisville a couple weeks ago, that offense will move the ball. That is a good offense.
And they were ranked 16th at some point, 15th. They were up there early in the season.
I think the week before we played them, they were in that range. But yeah, no, that's a good football team. And I think Clemson probably coming into that game only losing week 1, they've rolled pretty much every week. They probably took that game. That was a Dabo Swinney spectacular right there.
That was a primetime game, I believe, too, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night at home.
That was Dabo
smashed.
I mean, he was cooking. That was his game right there. That sounds about right. Let me explain something to y'all, okay? Some of these comments on our short that I made when I talked about Carson Beck. You're just a hater. You don't know ball. You know what you're talking about. Are you guys stupid?
Don't know ball.
Are you guys actually insane? This guy in the last 3 games has 5 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, and he has, I think, 3 or 4 dropped interceptions. He should have had 4 interceptions against Florida. And
Did he play the Ravens? Holy.
No, because he would have threw 17. So I would have dropped 20 more somehow that game. This guy is horrible. Okay, he's horrible. You're just a hater. You don't know ball. You don't know what you're talking about. The Bulldogs are somehow 3-0 in these games. I don't know how. Defense, coach of the best coach in the country. Sure, whatever. Should have thrown 4 against Florida. The over the middle, the linebacker, safety in the box, whatever it was, dropped a wide open interception, and they beat the third string quarterback for Florida. Congratulations, Bulldogs.
I can't wait for with the 23rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Carson Beck.
I will listen to me right now. Okay, I'll make this deck. I'll declare this right now. I promise y'all on everything I love. If the Pittsburgh Steelers draft Carson Beck 3 years after drafting Kenny Pickett, I will literally switch teams and I will be allowed to pick whoever the hell I want. I promise y'all. I don't care. We're not drafting him. There's nothing that you look that Lambo needs to be forget repo. That thing needs to be thrown in the ocean. Okay? This guy is so bad. It's unbelievable. Like him and Drew Aller are gonna play in a bowl game and they're gonna have a shit bag off, and I can't wait. I can't this literally would count as a loss against me. They beat Florida. Florida's second string quarterback would have won that game. My man, as soon as they threw that interception, boom, like 40-yard bomb on a dot touchdown. And then he freaking, I don't even know what he did. His hamstring, he could have had mine. I would have gave it to him.
I'll move on.
My blood pressure is.
SMU rolls over previously undefeated Pitt 48-25. The SMU offense, kind of serious. Kevin Jennings, 300 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns. Brashard Smith, 161 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns as well. They did whatever they wanted offensively. It was just too much for Pitt to handle. SMU on paper looks like they're going to go unbeaten in the ACC, looking at their schedule for the rest of the season. Miami SMU ACC championship looks like is possibly what we're going to get. Might be 200 points scored in that game. Might be 200 points scored.
By halftime, yeah.
By halftime. Take the over on whatever that game is when it happens in the ACC championship. I mean, it might be 85-80.
We're both 5-0 in the conference.
Yeah.
Last 2 remaining.
The only 2 unbeatens in the ACC.
And I don't think we play them. So
no, I looked up SMU's schedule. I believe it is they play Virginia, they play Cal, and they play somebody else.
It's probably going to be a shootout as well.
Yeah.
So
well, let's look at the new top 25 here. I haven't actually looked at this. This is my first time looking at this raw.
This is my first time as well. The only thing I saw was where we were at just from our Instagram post. But
so looking at the top 4, Oregon doesn't move. Did they play this week?
Oregon, they did. Yes,
they did. They smashed somebody, I'm sure.
Yeah, our stat guy pulled it up. They beat Michigan.
Yeah, they did have actually a decent game, but Michigan stinks.
Yeah. Man, Michigan kept it close for 3.5 quarters, 3-ish quarters.
And then Georgia, they had a bye, I believe. They're 7-1 still at number. No, they didn't have a bye. What am I saying? Am I okay? What is happening? Georgia,
they beat Florida.
We just talked about it. Georgia beat Florida. Ohio State beat Penn State, and then Miami. They played Duke. So I agree with this top 4 right now.
I don't think Georgia should be in the top 25. But other than that, no, they should obviously be in the. But they're not the second best. You cannot be the second best team in the country with one of the. Honest to God, if you look at this top 25, is Carson Beck the worst quarterback in this top 25?
Drew Aller.
Drew Aller hasn't thrown 18 interceptions on the season. Okay, he might not be able to because he only throws like 15 times a game. But anyway,
Oregon plays my Maryland Terps this week, so rest in peace to our program.
Oh, so Oregon actually won't be undefeated. Bet. So,
yeah, right.
The top 4 I agree with for the most part. I think Georgia should be out. I still think even though I know they won in Texas, but that was just the worst game. We haven't seen Texas yet, so we'll see how they look.
Texas plays Florida, kind of a gauge, I guess, to see how that game goes.
If the second string quarterback is healthy, we'll see. That Florida defense isn't bad.
Florida's a decent team.
They've played better in the last 4 games. Yeah. But moving on, let's talk about 5 through 12. This is almost probably what we'd look at the playoff because of Boise State being at 12. I gotta say, this Indiana football team is legit. They are a legit football team. I really don't know if it's crazy to say, but I think they're up there with like Oregon and Ohio State, like in the Big Ten. Like they're not a joke by any means.
Do they play does Indiana play like Ohio State or
Oregon? They do. They have Ohio State in 2 weeks.
Let's go.
That might be game of the year there.
I like that.
Yeah, they move up 5 spots because they what did they beat? Who did they beat? They beat they crushed
Michigan State.
Yeah. So they move up 5 spots. Penn State falls to only 6. I'm kind of shocked because they didn't really look great. I know they were 2 or 3, but I feel like they honestly, if you look at this Penn State, if they played Tennessee, if they played Indiana, if they played BYU, shoot, if Penn State played Alabama, are they winning that game? Probably not.
They're losing to Notre Dame as well.
I forgot they were even on the
he just wants to skip over them. He just doesn't see them, like invisible.
I have them blocked on my computer. But everyone else kind of Notre Dame falls. I don't think they played, and then everybody else, Alabama and Boise State move up both 3 spots. Again, Alabama coming off that dominating win against Missouri.
Big game for Alabama, LSU this week.
We talked about a big prove it game. I don't know. What are your thoughts on top 12 here?
I like it. I feel like you could intermingle like any of these teams, and I would agree with it. Like if whatever, I don't know. Penn State, I think, should have dropped a little bit more.
I think they should be underneath Tennessee and Indiana.
Yeah, like 9-10, I think 8, 9-10 for them. BYU is kind of like just sleeping there at 8-0. They're gonna smoke Utah this week. They'll be 9-0. So it's interesting. Boise State there,
right at 12.
Right at 12, kind of interesting. They had a tight one against UNLV. I think they had a bye this week. I think maybe not actually.
They
beat San Diego State.
Yeah,
I didn't watch bye pretty much. Yeah, I agree with it. I don't know about Boise State. Like obviously they're the Mountain West and they have to be there, but
yeah,
if they play one of these top teams, like if they play like an Oregon, or a Georgia,
they lost to Oregon by only 3 on the road.
That was early. But
I think as of the top 12, like this would be a fun playoff. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Obviously Notre Dame and Georgia are getting bounced first round, and then everyone else will be like in contention for like the ring. So,
I mean, this is a Alabama get into the playoff type of week or not against LSU here.
I don't know the remaining schedule after that, but this is literally their season on Saturday.
I mean, it's both of their seasons. I think whoever wins this game probably gets in if they win out after this. Because LSU's at 14.
I think again we talked about it, the best thing going for Alabama is the head-to-head against Georgia, and Georgia has Ole Miss and Tennessee. And I'm not even just trying to sound like a hater, but the way they've looked and the way Ole Miss has looked, Alabama, they obviously need to win big against LSU, but they might have some help here with Ole Miss and Tennessee playing Georgia, and then again we don't really know LSU's remaining schedule after that. But big game Saturday. Oof.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Boise State just loses one game and then Army makes it into the playoff, how electric would that be?
That would be crazy. that would actually be insane, honestly. Like, I mean, they could do it. Their offense is legit. Like,
Army's good. Army is good.
They move the ball well, so we'll see. But I mean, let's move on to 13 to 25. This is kind of, you do have some teams in this mix, like a LSU, like a SMU, an Ole Miss. They move up 3. They put up a 40 bomb on who did they play? Who was it?
Who were we talking about? Sorry.
Ole Miss. Arkansas. They went into Arkansas. They put up a 60 bomb. I forgot. Jackson Dart, 500 yards and like 5-6 touchdowns or something. Yeah. Again, Ole Miss, those 2 losses kind of fugazi. They should have never lost to LSU in that overtime game. So,
yeah, the SEC
we'll see.
Kind of crazy right now.
It is kind of crazy. Texas A&M, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
What happened? You go into South Carolina, you look like you look like butt.
Yeah. Not good. Not good for them.
Clemson, they fall 8 spots. Iowa State, they lost at home. Their season's probably done, which is kind of crazy. They only have 1 loss.
In the Big 12, right? Well, that was BYU.
BYU, and is that it?
I think that actually might be it. So probably Big 12 championship. Oh, Colorado's. I mean, we'll see. They're right there, 6-2.
That trash team. Yeah, they might make it.
Could be in the Big 12 championship.
That's probably kind of crazy. What it'll be, yeah. Again, there's some teams like you said, Clemson's probably out of it. They're already down to 19. Like, I don't see them
No.
making a run. Ole Miss, I mean, I don't know what they would need to maybe get back into it, but a big game though, big game against Georgia. If they beat Georgia, oh boy, oh boy, the SEC is about to be real interesting. Like the last I don't know how many weeks this season we got, but yeah,
Washington State at 12 and or at 7-1, ranked 20th. This says Pac-12 on here, but what?
I mean, the Pac-12 has those 3 teams, right? It's not even you wouldn't even count it as a conference,
right?
Interesting though, especially that SMU, LSU, Ole Miss, Army. That little group right there is very interesting. Ole Miss has a big game against Georgia. LSU is a huge game against Alabama. SEC is going to be nice on Saturday.
Yeah,
we're going to have a lot of games to pick, I think. So, interesting stuff to look at there. But overall, I feel like this is really good. Vanderbilt might be the best 3-loss team we've ever seen in college football ever. And that's top 25.
That is the top 25.
The Miami Hurricanes are the 4th ranked team in the country for the first time since probably 2002, and my heart couldn't be happier.
Only 1 of 3 9-0 teams.
Hey,
you're in there like swimwear, baby. Nonchalant.
He's so nonchalant. He's just my little nonchalant silly goose.
Let's move on to the last segment of the day. Over under reactions. You can start it off for us here.
Let me get it popping with the question we talked about, breaking down the college football. Again, 1-14 against top 5 opponents in his tenure at Penn State. Is James Franklin's time over at Penn State, regardless of what happens this season?
I think this is an underreaction, it has to be, right? You're the coach of Penn State. The expectations are high. You're the coach there to win big games. That's what you're supposed to do at Penn State, and you're 1-14 in those big games.
Not great.
That's overseas. That's over multiple seasons, multiple different teams, same result. That's an underreaction.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is probably one of the better Penn State teams that have been assembled to win in big games. Again, they're not out of the playoff by any means. Possibly. We'll see how they, the committee kind of goes into the end of the season and how they rank everything. But just you're at home, Ohio State's they've not looked amazing all season. They're coming off of a shaky game against Nebraska. And you don't even you scored 6 points offensively.
I think they're a good team, but they're they deserve to be in the top 25, sure, top 15. That's their top 15 team, but they're not that. They're not that next level, high grade SEC or Big Ten, Ohio State, Oregon type of team. They're just they're a good team. They're not a great team.
Yeah, and people can argue, oh well, they've never had a quarterback or they don't have a quarterback. That's his job to go find one.
Doesn't matter. Moving back to the NFL. Let's talk about the Commanders.
Oof.
Do they have a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl this year?
This is a really good question. And the reason being is because there's never been a rookie quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. Reason, obviously, rightfully so. It's very hard to win as a rookie in the NFL. But of the rookie quarterback-led teams I've seen, this has to be one of the better ones. My 04 Steelers actually went to the AFC Championship game with the rookie Ben Roethlisberger and lost to the Patriots in that little early 2000s dynasty they had. And we actually beat New England in the regular season that year, so we played them twice. Obviously, it's hard to beat Belichick twice. But again, I think that I'm just going off history. This is a slight overreaction. But this Commanders team,
they just got better, too, on the defense side of the ball.
They did just get better, and the weakest part of their defense was the passing game. And
they have a coach that's been to a Super Bowl.
He's been to a Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl as a D coordinator. He's been to back-to-back Super Bowls, I think, as a D coordinator in Seattle. He knows defense. That's his anywhere Dan Quinn goes, they're going to play good defense. They just added, like you said, a key piece to a secondary, and that's what he's known for with the LOB and stuff. Jaden Daniels, for them to win, he would literally have to just not make any mistakes, and that's hard to do as a rookie, especially when you get into the playoffs. You get the team's best. Like, I love the Commanders, but if they have to see a Lions team, a Vikings defense, a Lions defense, a 49er defense, if healthy, like, I love the Commanders, but I just think it's a slight overreaction. I just think, like, could they do it? I think they have the pieces to win a Super Bowl. I just, going on history, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me talk about my Steelers. Okay. The Steelers win. The first playoff game in 8 years. The last time we won a playoff game, Donald Trump was president. The first, like, he got elected to the United States, 2016.
The next time they're going to win one, he
will get reelected.
Actually, he won't be, but hopefully it's on pace. I think there's an underreaction. Obviously, you guys are 6-2. Probably on pace right now to make the playoffs. As long as you guys don't implode, you're going to make the playoffs, and you can definitely win a playoff game for sure.
Are you sure? I mean, we haven't in 8 years.
I mean, it's going to be depending on. Obviously, you want to play that game at home. Going on the road in the playoffs is tough, but I think it's an underreaction. I think you can win a playoff game. Yeah.
All right. So Jason's actually stupid. All right. He's not caught on to the trend in Pittsburgh. That's
fine. The 3-5 Cowboys here.
Oh God.
They should give up the season. Dak Prescott, I think, is out for a couple of weeks with like some kind of injury, hamstring, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Should they just tank? Just tank your season. It's over. To get a little good about a draft pick. Why not?
I mean, there's a lot to unpack in this question because are they tanking or are they just playing football and they're gonna end up with the third?
I mean, at this point, like, I don't know.
They suck. I mean, to be fair, should they tank? I think they should be put in the SEC. To be honest with you, this team is freaking horrible. I'm so sick of seeing the Cowboys. We talked about it. Like, I don't remember. We had him on. I asked you about Mike McCarthy if he would get fired, and then we had Jerry Jones over under reaction question, and if they're ever going to succeed. This team does the same thing. They're literally the Steelers of the NFC. They win games. They get like a home field playoff game for no reason because they're in a terrible division until the Commanders finally got good and the Eagles finally got good. But they just do the same thing. And now they actually have two good teams in their division, and it's showing like they're not good. They're not set up to be good. They always draft like high energy, very uncoachable guys. No. They never seem to have a culture there. And yeah, they should tank for a better draft pick. I mean, to be fair, like Dak is
they don't
like
have to try to do that. They're doing it naturally.
I mean, I think they'd struggle in the SEC. So yeah, they're gonna get a good draft pick. But I mean, to be fair, like Dak Prescott is another he might be a little bit of a glorified version, but he's just another Matt Ryan or Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Will Dak win you regular season games just like all those other guys? Yeah. Are they going to get it done in the big game? No, they're not. So, yeah, I think they should tank for – I mean, there's Cam Ward, there's Sanders, there's guys that might, give some spark to this dying of a team, like America's team.
They just paid Dak Prescott the most money ever. If they draft a quarterback this year, like what are they? Like, I don't even know.
I mean, maybe he could sit for a couple of years or something. But
yeah,
I mean, they're not going to win with Dak. Dak has shown that. What have they won with Dak? They won maybe a couple divisions. They haven't won meaningful playoff games. Yeah. I mean, I get again. If you're a Cowboys fan, you want to watch the same thing every single year. Then I mean, have fun.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another NFC team. The Packers are the most overrated team in NFL history. The Packers the most overrated team in the NFL.
This is
let me rephrase this question.
Overreaction.
Let me rephrase this question. I might change your answer. Probably not. Are they the most overrated team with like a very healthy like win record? Like they're not a slouch team. Like they're up there in the win column. But like, are they like the most overrated team you've ever seen?
I don't think they are. They played.
Got blown out at home.
They got blown out at home. Okay, against a wagon of a team in the Lions. They can play good defense and they can run the football. They just have to contain the mistakes from Jordan Love, and they're going to be fine. Like they just got to not rely on Jordan Love to win games. I know he's your franchise guy, but Josh Jacobs has been eating. He's gotten like 15, 20 carries. He's probably, close to 100 yards the past like 4 or 5 games, or over 100 yards. Just play good defense and run the football, and just I know you don't want him to be a game manager. You want him to throw 60-yard bombs and be electric, but you don't have to do that to win. Just play good defense, run the football. That's what good teams do.
That's fair. They're still overrated, but it's fair.
All right, our last one of the day, the Falcons and your favorite quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Chalk it up now. They already won the AFC South. They locked in a home playoff game.
They're in a freaking division with the Looney Tunes out here.
That is why they already won the division.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, underreaction. Ooh. If the Bucs weren't hurt, they'd win the division, in my opinion. But yeah, Kirk Cousins will.
They lost healthy to the Falcons
one time.
Twice.
No, they were that. Didn't they get hurt in the game they lost to?
No, they got hurt in the game that they played us. They lost both receivers.
Oh, that's right. They'd still win though if they played in the game. They'd actually win though. It's crazy. Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback, and
I like Baker, but
they have a better coach. So the Bucs are actually a better football team. But the Falcons, did they win the NFC North or South?
They won.
Sure. I think Bama could have won this division, but. This is an underreaction. They're going to go to the playoffs and get routed by the Commanders or something, and that'll be the end of the Falcons.
Kirk Cousins is nasty.
Kirk
out chains. It's coming together. Kyle Pitts didn't show up for us, of course, because he's there.
Oh yeah, every time we put a bet in on Underdog, everybody turns into idiots when we bet on them. Pitts is going for 180 a game, and we put money on him, and he's just not even in the offense. One catch for 11 yards. Are you kidding me? What else didn't even hit? I don't even remember. Good Lord, man. We can't win. One day we're going to hit a Underdog slip on this channel. Don't you guys worry. It's going to happen. Oh, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb can't get over 50 yards rushing. I wish you had symbols in your hand and my head was in between them. Just
like the Grinch?
Yes. That's exactly
that is the episode Tuesday.
Election day. NFL day. Well, there's no
trade
NFL.
Deadline.
Trade deadline. Most important thing of the day. Trade deadline. We got to receive.
Most important. Vote. We
got to receive.
Trade early, trade often.
Trade early, trade often. That's what we say here on Morning Wood. Okay.
All right, guys. We appreciate you watching. We will be back, of course, as always, on Thursday to make our game picks for the NFL and the college football slate on over the weekend. Our power rankings will be on there, of course. I think that's all we got.
Congratulations to the giveaway winner.
Yes.
Hopefully during the holiday season, we'll be bringing more of those to you guys.
Yes, we will.
That's pretty much it.
That time. We appreciate you. Have a great week. Have a great day tomorrow, and we'll see you back on Thursday.
Bye.